Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I know I have been MIA for a long time. I just completed my first bikini competition, yay. And before that, I ran my first marathon. So I've been up to a lot. If you don't know me, I'm Laura. I went through a 65-pound weight loss transformation. Now that number is a 75-pound weight loss transformation because I've since lost more weight since I just did my bikini competition. So yeah, welcome. In today's video, I am going to be talking about all things bikini competition prep. I'm going to be answering all of your questions. I posted a story on my Instagram about like ask me anything. So I'm going to be answering those. And then I'm also going to be answering just questions that people asked me throughout the whole process, just like from friends, strangers, anybody that I told that I was doing this. And I just kind of like logged all the questions, and I'm going to be using this. And yeah, I've broken it down into a few different categories. So cost, diet, training, process, peak week, and show day. And I'm going to be going through them part by part, category by category. So yeah, and if I leave anything out, if you guys have any questions after this that I did not answer for you, please feel free to leave them in the comments or hit me up on Instagram. It's at Laura DePino. I'll just like link it below. Yeah, you can always ask me questions. I love talking about all things health, fitness related. And yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the cost of everything because this is something that will blow a lot of people's minds. It is very expensive to compete in a bikini competition. A lot of people ask me, do you get sponsored? The answer is no. I wish. I'm actually not sure that any amateur or novice bikini competitors do get sponsored. I know that like once you become pro, that's when you can like start getting brand deals and stuff. But yeah, no, this was all out of pocket. I did save up some money to do this because it's just always been on my bucket list. I always knew I wanted to compete in a bikini competition. And yeah, so it was like a hobby for me and a very expensive hobby, I'll just say. Okay, so just to break it down, the bikini itself was $750. The shoes were about $150. I don't exactly remember. That's just a guesstimate. All the jewelry that you need to have like the big earrings, the bracelets, you know, the rings, whatever. It's like very like pageanty and like glitzy. I would say total, I probably only spent like $50 on the jewelry. Hair and makeup, you don't have to get done. You can do your own hair and makeup if you want on show day. I chose to get mine done just because I don't trust myself. And that was $250. The tan, you have to get the tan. You can't like get your own and then show up. I'm pretty sure maybe you can in some shows, but in the show I did, we had to go through that company. That was $150. And I'll go over like the tan and stuff later. You have to purchase an NPC card to compete in the national, I don't know what NPC stands for, but yeah, to compete in any bodybuilding show with the federation of the NPC, because there's different federations, I had to buy a card, and that was $175. And then each division that you compete in is a separate cost. So for my first show, I competed in True Novice, which means that was my first show ever. I've never competed before. And then I also competed in novice, which is just like I've never placed in any other show before. And then I also competed in the open division, which is like, it could be people who've never competed before, or also people who've been competing for 5-10 years, whatever. So each division was $180 to enter. And so my first show, I competed in 3. So that was, I think, $540. And then in my second show, because I did back-to-back weekends, my second show, I couldn't compete in True Novice because it was no longer my first show. So yeah. The hotel, obviously if you're competing in a show where like it's in your hometown, you don't need to stay in a hotel, but I competed in Anaheim, which is like an hour and a half from LA. And then the second weekend it was in San Diego, which is like 2 hours from LA. So we stayed in a hotel because it just made everything easier, because like the day before the show, you have to get your tan, you have to do the athlete check-in. And yeah, it just made it easier to like be like right where everything was happening. Coach. So my coach was $150 a month, which is actually on the low end. A lot of coaches are upwards of $200, $300 a month. So that's, yeah. And then times that by however many weeks you are preparing for. So I did a 18 week prep. So like 4 months. So $150 a month for 4 months. And then you have to have a posing coach if your regular coach doesn't know how to like teach you how to do the poses for stage. My posing coach was $150 for 3 sessions. That could also vary. It could be more, less, but yeah, just to have an idea. And then you have to have a gym membership, obviously. My gym is $23 a month. So yeah. And then all of this added up, not including the food. You're buying food constantly. I basically just like lived at the grocery store if I wasn't in my kitchen or at the gym. Because yeah, you're always food prepping. You need a lot of food. I wouldn't even be able to guess how much money I spent on food this whole time, because then there's also protein powders, and that's a whole other cost in and of itself, because protein powder is ridiculously expensive. So yeah, it's just a lot of money, basically. All right, now let's get into the diet. So everybody always asks me, what do you eat? My diet plan was constantly changing. Most people, when they do a bodybuilding competition, will do a traditional bulk and then cut. So that's when you are, eating in a surplus to be able to put on muscle. And then you kind of slowly cut down your calories and your food intake, to get to the low body fat percentage that you need to be at to be on stage. My coach did not have me do a bulk then cut, because I guess I was bulked enough when I first started. It was right after Thanksgiving, so I had definitely indulged a lot. And I was 126.4 pounds when I started, and I wouldn't even be able to guess my body fat percentage, but I was definitely like heavier than I normally am, I would say. So yeah, he started me on a cut right away. I think just because he wanted to see like what was underneath the fat in order to be able to adjust my plan accordingly. So my diet plan was changing based on how my physique looked every week. So I did weekly check-ins with my coach, and then, he would either have me carb cycling, and like eating rice every 2 days, 1 week, and then like other weeks I would not have any rice. So it was just totally like what he told me to do is what I did. But a normal day of eating would have been like, I would have half a cup of oats in the morning with blueberries or strawberries, protein, 1 scoop of protein powder, and then 1 slice of Ezekiel bread, which is like sprouted grain bread, sometimes with a tablespoon of almond butter, again, depending. And so I would do my fasted cardio first in the morning when I wake up, do an hour of cardio without eating, just black coffee or pre-workout, whatever. And then I would eat that meal, my oats and protein and fruit. And then I would lift, do my, whatever lift I had to do. And then I would have protein basically like 4 times a day, just protein powder, mixed with water, obviously. And lunch would be a salad with a scoop of protein powder. And then dinner would be like tofu or seitan, any type of protein, vegan chicken, because I did this vegan, with rice, depending on if I was having rice that week, and vegetables. I would always have vegetables though, so always protein with vegetables. And yeah, so it was basically like 5 to 7 small meals a day, mostly just protein with every meal, and then like some combination of vegetables, salad, or rice. Pretty bland, but you find ways to like spice it up, like I was able to use seasonings, so salt, pepper, crushed red pepper. Sometimes I would use soy sauce, obviously like low calorie, like low sodium soy sauce, with my rice. Towards the end, you kind of have to cut all that stuff back because you need to like watch your sodium intake more. But yeah, you could use hot sauce, mustard, anything like that. So yeah, that's how I would make it a little bit more fun. How do you get protein without meat? That is a question I get a lot. Again, tofu has like 13 grams of protein per serving. Seitan has 20 grams. Vegan chicken has 23 grams per serving, which is more than regular chicken, I think. Protein powders, I would do, sometimes, occasionally I would do whey protein. I don't love to because it doesn't sit well with my stomach too much, but yeah, protein powders. So yeah, you can 100% do a bodybuilding competition on a vegan diet. Like that's, yeah. How many calories do you consume? I would not even be able to tell you. Because I was just like following my coach's plan, I wasn't really tracking my calories. I could kind of guess. I would say, I know for sure towards the end, like peak week, which is the week before the competition, I was definitely on like less than 1,000 calories, which is not healthy. Don't recommend it. But that's like how low you have to kind of go at the end just to get that stage look. But throughout the process, I would say I was having anywhere from 1,400 to 1,700, maybe 1,800. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably bad that I don't know, but like, I just trusted him and I just like ate what he told me to eat. And I truly was not paying attention to like okay, how many grams of whatever, how many grams of fat is this? How many grams? I just was focusing on my protein. Like hitting my protein was like the main goal, and then everything else was like secondary. Do you track macros or calories? Again, no. Now that I've done the process, I have a general idea of like how many grams of protein or carbs or fat is in everything. So I know that, you know, if I have 2 tablespoons of almond butter, I'm having 15 grams of fat. But I kind of just eyeball everything. Like I do measure everything out, but in terms of grams and calories, I don't have like a hard, like I need to hit 1,700 calories a day. Like as long as I'm getting enough protein, then I don't track. But tracking works for people. I mean, I know my best friend who did this with me, she was on a macro focused plan. So she was tracking every like gram of carbs, fat, and protein through an app. Whereas my plan was more holistic. So it was more based on how my physique was looking, my diet would change, and my caloric intake would change. So that's why I don't really know, because like every week was a different amount of calories. So yeah. What supplements do you take? Supplementation is probably the part of training for a bikini competition that is like really important and that most people don't even think of, because I didn't realize I would have to be taking so many supplements before I started. So every morning before I would go do my fasted cardio, I would take B12, just because I don't eat meat. I need the supplementation from B12. Iron, yohimbine, which is, I think it's supposed to make you like, it's supposed to like help your metabolism and like burning fat and stuff. All I know is it gives me a lot of energy for my workouts. So that's why I take it. It helps with like weight management. That's what it is. Yeah. I take a fat burner, and that's more again for like to help like power through my workouts, because it has caffeine in it, so it acts as like a pre-workout as well. What else do I take? Vitamin D, vitamin C, basically a multivitamin, biotin. I take CoQ10 for my circulation, and apple cider vinegar, and vegan omega fish oils, whatever they're called, omega-3s. So yeah, all of that. And then on top of that, BCAAs for, amino acids, and creatine I was taking for like, it adds water into the muscles. And pre-workout, and glutamine. Glutamine is super underrated. Let me tell you about glutamine. It completely changed like the whole training process for me, because at first I wasn't taking enough. I didn't realize I was supposed to be taking more. And once I started taking the right amount, it helps so much with like recovery in between training sessions, because I would not feel as sore as I should have felt, because I was lifting heavy like almost every day. And so obviously your body, your muscles are breaking down, and like, you're building muscle. And so like you're gonna feel sore, but glutamine really, really helps with like not feeling as sore, because it like speedy fast recovers your muscles. So highly recommend taking glutamine. What's the hardest part of the diet? Honestly, I know that a lot of girls, like when they do this, they're like, oh, I'm so hungry. Like, I just want a donut and whatever. Like, I never really felt hungry. My coach did a really amazing job of balancing like my training and my diet so that I was coming down pretty slow. I think that's why he didn't have me do a bulk and then cut. And I was just kind of doing a progressive cut the whole time because I never really felt like hungry, or like I was starving and like I needed like to eat a donut or anything. So I think like cutting down the calories slowly over the 18 weeks was like the best idea ever because I never missed those calories really because like it was so slow and progressive. So yeah, I would say for me, it wasn't like a hunger thing. For me, the hardest part about the diet was just like not having variety. Like I would be at work, I work at a restaurant, and like something would look really good to me, not because I was like, oh my God, I'm starving, I want that mac and cheese, but like just because like I wanted like variety, you know, like just because I missed the taste of other things other than like rice, green beans, broccoli, and like seitan. So yeah, I would say it was more just like just wanting to like have different flavors. Yeah, that was the hardest part. Okay, moving on to training. How much time do you spend at the gym? This changed. So in the beginning, I was doing a half hour of cardio, fasted cardio in the morning. And then my lift would take me like an hour and a half. So that would be like, 2 hours, whatever. And then it just progressively got like way more time, to the point where like there were days on my leg days, I would probably be at the gym for like 4 or 5 hours because my cardio would increase throughout the weeks. So I went from doing a half hour of cardio to like 45 minutes, then 60 minutes. And then my leg day took me the longest. It would take me like 2 hours. And then my coach started adding in cardio for after my lift as well. So that would be like an extra half hour. So in the beginning, I was only spending like 2 hours, like an hour and a half, 2 hours. In the middle part, I was spending probably, I would say 2.5 hours on average, 2.5 to 3 hours. Towards the end, like the last 2 months of training, of prepping, I was spending probably close to 4 hours at the gym every day because I was doing my hour of fasted cardio, my hour and a half to 2 hour lift, depending on what day it was. And then I would have to do an hour of cardio at night or like after my lift. And then he added on, like I had to do 100 push-ups and 100 lunges every day for the last 4 weeks of my prep. And also on top of all that, I would have to practice my posing, and I would do about a half hour of posing practice every day. And I would just do that at the gym. I would take my heels with me and practice in this room with a mirror at my gym. So yeah, it got pretty intense. That was honestly like probably like the hardest thing about it was that it was like hard to spend all of that time there and like just have to kind of like put everything else in my life on the back burner just because it was so time consuming. Do you have to go to the gym every day? Yes and no. I kind of chose to. I could have taken 2 rest days a week, but I chose to make my rest days active rest days. So I would like go to the gym and do some cardio or like do like just a walk on the treadmill, or sometimes I would go for a hike, or do yoga. But yeah, basically at least like 5 days a week you're in the gym, I would say, because it depends on like what type of split you have, in terms of like arms, shoulders, back, legs. I don't know what else, but basically like depending on how your training days are split up, it could be 4 days, it could be 5. Mine were mostly 5-day splits and then 2 days of just like cardio or like active rest. So yeah, I was pretty much in the gym every day. How much cardio do you do? I feel like I already kind of went over this, but basically an hour of fasted cardio in the morning. So what that means fasted is I didn't eat anything before I did it. So just black coffee or anything 0 calorie, pre-workout if you want. And then the reason for that is because when your body doesn't have food in it, or like you've been fasting from the night before, it's easier to like burn body fat, I guess. I guess like your body is burning fat before it's burning anything else if you're in a fasted state, I think is the science behind it. There's like science to say that it works and then science to say that it doesn't, but regardless, most bikini competitors do fasted cardio. And then I started doing cardio after, like I said, so I would do an hour in the morning, half hour after my training. And then towards the end, like the last month of prep, I was doing 2 hours of cardio a day. So 1 hour before lifting, 1 hour after lifting. And the cardio, you can kind of like choose what you want to do. Some coaches will give you like a cardio plan. My coach kind of just was like, do whatever you want, because he knew that I was a runner. So most days I ran. At the end, he gave me like Stairmaster cardio workouts to do. I think because he was trying to like target my legs, because my legs were a little bit underdeveloped muscularly. But yeah, I would do just whatever I felt like doing that day. Elliptical, bike, treadmill, yeah, any type of cardio. What's the hardest part of training? Okay. How time consuming it is, 100% was like the hardest. The hardest thing was like not being at the gym, because I enjoy being at the gym, but kind of like feeling like I wasn't being productive in other areas of my life because I was spending so much time at the gym. Also though, like another hard part for me was not lifting. I love lifting, but I think just not kind of having a frame of reference for like how heavy I was lifting, because I felt like I was lifting as heavy as I could and pushing myself every day. But I think that it was hard for me to like know if I was doing the right thing, like to know if I was like, if I should have been lifting heavier, or I don't know. I think that I just got in my head about it because I was like, oh, what if I like go up there and like all of these other girls are way more jacked than me and like I haven't been lifting heavy this whole time. But now I realize like I did the best I could. Like I literally have only been lifting for consistently for 5 months, and I competed in a competition where the other girls, some of them have been lifting for like 3 years. So yeah, I feel fine about it now, but like during the whole process, I was just like, how do I know? Like, am I doing it? Am I lifting too light? Or like, you know, I didn't know if I was like progressing basically, but now I can see the results. So I see that I definitely was progressing the whole time. So yeah. Okay, guys, I didn't realize how much I talk while I was filming, so I'm making a part 2 for the other part of the questions. So the part 2 will be about the whole prep experience, peak week, and show day. So click the link somewhere for that.